Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1 at Stamford Bridge. The world champions, the Conference League champions, 1 win in 7 Premier League games. Villa keep on winning. And this time it is very, very big. It's the first away victory of the season against a side in the top 10. A Champions League contender, a top 4 challenger, and they keep their title hopes alive as ever. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you're getting that done right now. But wow, what a weird, topsy-turvy, strange, and interesting game, and we're here to break it down. Of course, we want to get your views, your opinions on this. There is a live link, as you can see it, in the live chat. And what that link will enable you to do is do your Chelsea player ratings. You click on the link, you put in your score out of 10, 8.1s and 1.9s. It's quite accurate. Go put your scores in. Go do your player ratings. We're going to share those later on the show. But a massive night. A massive night indeed of football. I want to start off because we obviously cover the traditional top 6, as it were, primarily on the Football Terrace. Of course, we do some international football, Champions League football, and things like that. But Aston Villa deserve a tremendous amount of credit. By the way, it's not 1 win in 7, it's 1 win in 6 for Chelsea. Because now when we look at Aston Villa, that is 4 away wins on the bounce, but they've added the scalp of a top team, a top 10 team, a supposed title contending team. They've added that scalp, and it's very, very important. Overall in the Premier League now, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins on the bounce. And I've been critical of some of those wins where they've not been the best team, they've barely had any chances. But tonight felt a little different. That first half, and I've got the numbers here. In that first half of the game, it's crazy, these numbers. In the first half, Chelsea created 1.98, almost 2 XG, had 10 shots, 3 on target, 2 big chances, 1 of them missed. Aston Villa in that first half, only 29% of the ball, no shots, therefore none on target, no big chances, barely, I think, 1 touch in the opponent's box, and 29% of the ball, 0 XG. Chelsea were so good. Chelsea were so brilliant. Chelsea were so dominant on every single level. On every single level, Chelsea were brilliant in the first half. They nullified Villa. They didn't let them breathe. There was a kind of fear factor. And I was watching Aston Villa and thinking, well, they're going to lose their run. There's no way they're winning this game. What can they do? How can they change this? Chelsea were looking sublime. Let's just have it right. Let's just be honest. Let's not sit here and lie. Let's not sit here and twist the truth. Chelsea looked brilliant in that first 45 minutes. They were. Chelsea looked like, you know what? Chelsea needed the win. Okay? Chelsea needed the win because they... Look, I'll give you one of the biggest reasons. I'm going to put the exact details up on the screen right now that will appear on yours. They are now 10 points away from third. Chelsea are now 13 points off the top. I got called crazy for saying that Arsenal would finish 9 to 12 points ahead of them at the end of the season. At the almost a halfway point, they're beyond that already. They had to win, Chelsea. They had to get the victory. They do not want to be getting sucked into a top 4 race. It was meant to be top 4 comfortable and a trophy. But 1 win in 6, another collapse in a game. The second half was absolutely abysmal on every single level. There is just no doubt about that. No Chelsea fan worth his or her salt is going to argue that. It was poor. It was poor. There's a comment here that says, why bring up Arsenal? Because 6 games ago, the talk was, beat Arsenal at Stamford Bridge, 3 points off top. We're in this title race. We can win it. Arsenal are the barometer this year because they're top of the league, and you've got to be aiming to close that gap. But I also mentioned Aston Villa when speaking, not just because they played them tonight, but Aston Villa shouldn't, in my opinion, with the investment, the wage bill, the quality of this Chelsea team, I don't think Aston Villa should be 10 points ahead of you. I don't think Liverpool, with the season they're having, should be 3 points ahead of you. I don't think maybe the worst Man United team I've seen in my life are level on points with you. If Sunderland win tomorrow, they go ahead of you. That isn't good enough. There's a context to why things are being mentioned here. Chelsea had to do better, and they didn't tonight. They didn't. But look, I want to get your views. I want to get your opinions. The link, as I say, is there for the player ratings. I'd love to hear from you on that. I'd love to get your opinions on it. I'd love to get your views because there's a lot to talk about tonight. There's a lot to go through. Up the mighty Villa, 11 in a row. Good evening, Terry. I said it before and I'll say it again. Aston Villa deserve a really big slice of, a massive slice of praise. Even when they beat us last week, I congratulated them and everything else. There have been some games this year where I feel they have been maybe haven't quite been at the highest of standards, and they've had a lot of praise, but they may not have been at the absolute highest levels. But do you know what? Tonight, I thought they were very, 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 very good indeed. And especially that second half. And I didn't even get around to the second half bit because of that weird comment that came through. The second half statistics of this game. We heard the first half already. Second half, Chelsea 0.16 XG. Almost 2 XG in the first half, 0.16 in the second. Aston Villa, though, 1.05 XG, 11 shots, 8 on target. 4 big chances created in that second half. Absolutely it was night and day. It was chalk and cheese. It was Jekyll and Hyde. It was a massive game of two halves, and Chelsea had no response. I know Maresca wasn't actually on the bench, but he was still controlling things via he could do I think he did the pre-game halftime team talks, made the substitution still. It was so poor from Chelsea. So poor on every single level, I felt tonight, including the substitutions. I think taking off Palmer, I don't think should have happened in the game. Garnacho is far more dangerous than Gittins when he came on. Maybe Cucurella had an injury, but I don't understand why you're taking maybe your best player off. Didn't think the substitutions were good, but it was a reaction to things because on the 59 minutes in, and Aston Villa weren't doing very much, but when Watkins, Sancho, and Onana came on, the game changed on every level. And Chelsea didn't have a sniff after that. Chelsea didn't do anything. But you've got to give credit, and I will give credit, and I want to make sure we're giving credit rightfully to the victors tonight because they do deserve it. There's no doubt. This marks the end of my belief in this style of play. Possession is the most useless stat of them all. We play wasteful football. We can't score from open play, but have all the ball. Bring me Grasna is what Z has got to say here. Kenny says, scary Villa when. You man are so... Listen, super chat me £100 and I'll do a scary video. I'll do it for you, mate. But I'm going to start charging for it now because everyone wants it so much. That's what we'll get it done. If we get over 200 pound of donations on the show, I'll change the video title of this one to scary. Then we'll do it, bro. That's what we'll do. We'll get it done. We'll get it done for you, brother. We'll get that done. Another super chat here says that's 11 wins in a row for Unai. A lot of slander was said about him on these shows. I find it interesting when they win ugly or come back. It's called lucky, but Arsenal do it. It's called mentality monsters. Well, not by me. I said they deserved it. I said they deserved it. The difference is, though, is that it's about performances by and large. And Villa have had some good performances this year, but they haven't had as many good performances as Arsenal have had. So there's a difference. But I'm not sure if you got here late, Josh. I praised Unai Emery and I praised Aston Villa tonight. I said a massive well done to them because this wasn't just scoring a screamer from nothing. This was completely turning a game around. They were being bossed in, completely turning it around and thoroughly deserving that comeback in the second half. So, yeah, all I can say, Josh, is I most certainly didn't do that. What was really important about tonight as well is they beat a genuinely good team away from home. And it's very important because all year, all their away games against teams in the current top half of the table and the top half of the table when it comes to home form, they had not won a single game and lost the vast majority of them. So a really important night for them. And the belief this will give them is absolutely massive. If Villa win the Premier League, could it be the biggest underdog since Leicester? Well, it would be the biggest underdog since Leicester. It wouldn't be as big an underdog because they were a Champions League team last year. They weren't a relegation team that had only been promoted a year or so earlier. But it would be a massive underdog story, and it would be a colossal embarrassment for Chelsea, for Liverpool, for Manchester City and Arsenal, all of them, collectively, individually. You've got to remember, Man City spend more on salary per year than Aston Villa generate in revenue. So if they beat any of these teams to the league title, it's an embarrassment. I don't think they will, but if they do, massive embarrassment. No doubt about that whatsoever. It will be huge. And who's coming on the panel tonight? I don't know. Most of the usual suspects are not going to show up or turn their cameras on. You know how that's going to go down. But I want to speak. I want to speak on some Chelsea for a moment because there's so much to digest tonight. There's so much to go through, and it was such a weird game as well because how good they looked in the first half. But Chelsea have got major problems right now, and there is no fluff. There is no amount of PR. There's no amount of I trust my club. There's no amount of trust the process that's going to cover up for the fact they have a big problem right now. And you saw so many things tonight. You saw a brilliant first half and maybe the best 45 minutes of football I've seen from this Chelsea team since the Burnley and since the Barcelona games. What's that? 6-7 matches ago now. They were brilliant. Strong, wonderful in possession, creating opportunities and chances, and they dominated Aston Villa. They were by far the better team, and there was very little evidence or argument to make to say that Aston Villa were going to come back. But then in the second half, we saw the very worst of Chelsea. And we've seen this at different times this season, but it all kind of amalgamated into one in the second half. First of all, and I've called my team out for this, and I see Chelsea do it too regularly as well. It's like they come out and they're another team. They come out and they're not as aggressive. They come out and they're not as authoritative on the ball. They're a little bit lackadaisical in the challenges. It's almost like they're acting as though they've won. It's over. We've got this. It's easy. One of my favorite sporting film franchises is the Mighty Ducks. I don't really watch it as an adult, but as a kid, I watched it and loved it. And there was in D3, the third film, there was this scene where the Ducks, they went to this school, I think it was called Eton Hall, and they were playing in their first game, and they were like 6, 7, 8-0 up going into the final quarter. And they started getting a bit cocky, a little bit arrogant and mocking people. And they ended up tying the game 7-7 or 8-8 or something. And they got into a lot of trouble. And yes, it's a Disney movie, but there was a message in there, and it was a very important message around pride coming before the fall. And I've seen Chelsea on a number of occasions this year come out in the second half and be a different team. Now, I don't think Enzo Maresca is saying, guys, go out there and be shit. That's my team talk. This is more on the players. It's a mentality issue at the beginning of that second half. What I then saw was some terrible, terrible managerial decisions around the substitutions that were made. I know Palmer's only just returned, but you're taking him off. You put in Esteval through the middle. Garnacho, I didn't think was amazing tonight, but he was actually getting into dangerous positions. And really, before the equaliser, if it hadn't been for a brilliant McGinn challenge, would have made it 2-0. But he was in those areas, and you're taking him off. You're taking players that are actually playing quite well off, and you're bringing on individuals that either have barely played football in the last little period or have done nothing for you. I thought it was strange. And I didn't like what he did there. But it was also the discipline that Chelsea lost. And this comes through, again, poor mentality. And I think the element of having a lot of young players out there. There was a lot of silly yellow cards that were given away. You saw towards the end of the game shouting at the refs and arguing and stupid fouls. Badiashile giving the ball away twice, by the way. Didn't cost you a goal, but twice. Rob Sanchez ran out of his box with the ball. I know he slipped the second time, but the first time he did it, you actually nearly scored from it. And he clearly went out of his box. There was all these discipline issues. Some of it was in play. Some of it was shape. Some of it was dilly-dallying on the ball. Some of it was ill-discipline with cards and fouls. But you put that all together, and it was a shit show. And these Chelsea players are better than that. The manager is better than that. And this Chelsea team has performed better than that on multiple occasions. But this is nowhere near the standard. And the collapse was massive. The collapse tonight was absolutely massive on every single level. Maresca's going to take and should take a big chunk of the blame for that. He's the one coaching this team. He's the one prepping this team. I think they do have an issue where the players come out in the second half and they're maybe a little lackadaisical. Maybe their heads aren't quite right. What's the manager doing to address that? The substitutions, and I think it's one of the biggest things for a manager. As I've already mentioned, I thought they were horrendous. I thought he took some of the wrong players off. I'm not saying he brought the wrong players off. Kukurea may have had an injury. You guys can educate me on that in the comment section. But it was just nowhere near, absolutely nowhere near the standard that you would expect. And then you've got to look at the wastefulness, and you've got to look at the players, the opportunities that were missed, the chances that were created, the opportunities scorned. And that criticism has to go on the players. Around this time last year, Chelsea were 1 or 2 points off the top and ended up falling completely away. And a big part of that was missing chances. A big part of that was the lack of clinical edge. And you've changed some of the front line, but not much seems to have changed as of right now. And it's a hugely disappointing period for Chelsea. 1 win in 6 in the Premier League. And as I said earlier, and I'll say it again, to be level on points with this very, very, very average Man United team isn't acceptable. Liverpool are officially the worst defending champions in history, who have been awful, and they're now 3 points ahead of you. Villa didn't win a game in their opening 5 matches, are now 10 points ahead of you. And it was only at the beginning of that 6-game period we mentioned that you were a win away from closing that gap down to just 3 points in a title challenge. Nobody ever believed. A few Chelsea fans did. David did. Man United fan David on our shows did. But most people didn't believe Chelsea would win the league. But close the gap, show progression, demonstrate that you've become a more mature and a better team this year. And I feel in the last 6 games, that hope has maybe dissipated somewhat. The progression that was made feels like it's eroded. Now, I know there are reasonings, no real preseason. The World Cup, is that fatigue setting in now? Is the fatigue along with the immaturity of the squad and manager hurting you now? That could be a reason. There was a genuine reason behind that. But Chelsea have got to find a way to rectify it. You going for Semenyo, but you pull out because you're not willing to pay the wages that you offer him the wages, and he says no. And you say, well, we're not going to go any higher. We have a wage structure, and you walk away. Are Chelsea in a position to do that? I don't think so. I think you're in a position now where it's go for your Semenyos, go for the players that are established that might want 200 grand a week, but will move that needle for you, are more experienced. The frontal lobe has been developed. Very, very disappointing from Chelsea. Look, I want to have a view of the player ratings that have come through. I know some of you guys have been voting. I know some of you guys have putting in your scores. Let's take a little look at what you guys have said so far. Hopefully, this puts them up onto the screen. Sanchez there with it. Have you guys voted yet? Maybe that hasn't refreshed properly. I don't know. You guys aren't been voting him in as zeros, have you? You can't have been voting. Get the votes in. We'll come back to them a little bit later. I can't imagine that you guys... Did I pin the comment? I did. Let me just check that the link's working. That's because the link ain't working. I'm very, very sorry. Let me try and get that. Let me redo that again. And we'll do it later in the show. Sorry. 1 second. Let's see if this link works now. Put a new one in. Let me click on it and see if it works. Oh, it ain't working. That's weird. Let me try something else. Maybe it's because I did it before the game ended. It's a new thing that they've added, so we're just ironing out some problems with it. Let's do it again now. I'm going to try this new link, and hopefully this new one works. I'm very sorry, people. Ignore the one I just put in. I'm going to delete it. Let me delete it. Let me remove that. Let me see. Actually, I'm not even going to post it in the comment section until I actually try going on the link myself. If the link works, then we'll do it. Yeah, it's working now. It's working now. I did a new one. I'll replace the pinned tweet. That's the new pinned tweet. Refresh your stream if you haven't done it already. Get yourselves in there and vote. I want to know what your player ratings are. Please, people. I can already see people voting. Brilliant. Get them in, and we'll put them up on the screen. And we'll go through them. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the like button. And it may not be the result that you wanted for your team today, but it would be great if you guys could like the stream. And it'd be great if you guys could do that for us and give us your thoughts and give us your opinions on that. And get yourselves voting. There's a good few thousand of you watching, so I'd like to see quite a few of you do it. It's just a link. It might take you off YouTube for a bit, but it shouldn't take you more than a couple of minutes to do it and get it done. I'm giving him a much lower score than that. I'm just putting my own ones in now, and we'll show you on the screen a bit later. I don't think any of these guys were any good when they came on, but there we go. Minor rule in. We'll get yours put up on the screen very, very soon as well. But as I say, look, I don't think it was a great night for Chelsea, and I think that a lot of questions have to be asked from Chelsea fans at this particular moment in time. I think they do. One win in 6 can never be acceptable at your club. There was a rival. Yeah, it's funny. We can laugh, but I'm here more to have some serious conversations because I think Chelsea fans deserve and expect far more than what they're getting from their club right now. But look, I'd love to get your views. I'd love to get your opinions on that in the comment section below, please, people. Look forward to reading them. Right, let's take a little look at some more of your comments that have come through here. This says, I bet against Chelsea, they are too inconsistent. Well, you can't. The thing is, you can't trust Chelsea. This is the fact of the matter. Chelsea fans can't trust their team at the minute defensively. They just can't. My team setting embarrassing records with every passing week, but fair play to Villa for bringing pride to the Midlands football. Give Villa their... Is that a flower? Yeah, listen, they deserve a lot of praise, and I'm giving them it. I am. And do you know what? I didn't mention him earlier, and I should have done. Ollie Watkins, take a bow. There's a few guys that are in my group chats, in Football Terrace group chats, who do this thing where they don't rate a player, and then if a person has a bad game, it might be like 4 months after they made the statement, they're like, see, told you. But when they don't rate a player and he does well, they don't say shit. That's why I ignore most of those comments. Ollie Watkins tonight, he's hold-up play, he's dribbling, he's attacking. Every facet of Ollie Watkins' game tonight was brilliant. The man was absolutely tip-top on every single level. Every single level, he was amazing, Ollie Watkins tonight. Chelsea fan here who believes there was Chelsea before Roman, and sadly, it appears there will be no Chelsea after him. Good job, Villa. Again, I don't know if I go that far, because to say that you'll never get back to a top level, I think is too far-fetched. That being said, I don't even disagree with the large things that Clear Lake have done. I get the buying to flip. I get investing in youngsters. I just sort of look at it and go, I do really think you're missing experience. And I will say this, right? There is a certain... one sec. There is a certain player at your club in Rob Sanchez who's older, who's actually... I mean, I know he messed up with walking outside the box a few times tonight. But the crazy part is he's become one of your best players in this season, in these last 6 games. And again, you've got experience in there. Reece James has been relatively good in these games. There's experience there. You need experience and quality combined. Not everywhere, but in 2 or 3 more positions. And I do think Chelsea will become a team of a different level. If Villa... Oh, sorry, already done that one there. Mo better be on a lot of Unai slander this week. Well, it depends on what you consider to be slander. I stand on everything I've said. If I was the owner of a big football club, I wouldn't go to Unai Emery. But what I will say is I think he does brilliantly at clubs the size of Aston Villa. He's doing a fantastic job. I really do. I think brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I still don't think Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona are going to come in for him. I don't think Man City will be offering him the job when Pep goes. So I stand on my opinion of Unai Emery, but it doesn't mean I won't congratulate him for doing well. But I think you can I think you can do both those things at the same time. Let's look and see some of these player ratings that should have come through by now. Let's have a little look at what you guys have rated your players tonight. And obviously some of this will be rivals as well, but there we go. Let's see if this is on the screen. There we go. So Rob Sanchez tonight. Rob Sanchez has been voted with a 5.3. I mean, I think maybe he should be a little higher. Remember, that's viewers rating. I don't know what the 0 means. They've got to iron that out, but that's a viewers rating of 5.3. Reece James with a 5.6. You know, you lost your heads. You lost your discipline. You lost your shape. And he is the captain. He is the captain. So I understand why you Chelsea fans are frustrated with that. A 4.7 for Trevor Chalobah today. That's quite low. 4.7 there for Trevor Chalobah. Interesting. 4.1 for Badiashile. I mean, I'm just not surprised by that at all. I thought he had a terrible game. So a 4.1 seems very fair from you guys. What else have we got here? 4.4 for Mark Cucurella. Again, I don't feel that's wrong. I thought he had a really poor game. Caicedo got a 4 tonight. Jeez, a 4. I bet that was for Sam just doing it again and again and again and again again. But yeah, Caicedo, I just think he had in that second half, he had a very, very anonymous performance. He really did. Enzo Fernandez with a 4. Yeah, just average. Again, let me rephrase this. First half, I thought the whole team looked very, very good. Enzo Fernandez had a few opportunities when shooting that he could have done better with, but it was a drop off. You get a 4 for the first half, and then if you repeat it, that's how you get 8s and 9s, right? But it's almost you can't rate most of these Chelsea players for anything they did in the second half. Let's have a look here. Pedro Neto with a 4.1. 4.1. 4.1 rating from you guys tonight. Palmer with a 4.1 rating as well. Very, very low. Very, very low. What did he do anything tonight? What did he create? Let's actually have a look here at chances. Who created the most shots? Reece James created 3 chances tonight. Morgan Rogers 3. Neto 2. Oh, shit. Did Palmer not create a single chance all night? That's crazy. I swear he did. No, he didn't create a chance. Let's have a look at some of his numbers tonight. 79% passing accuracy, but he does try to create, so I can forgive him that. 0.2 XG. Shots on target, 1 shot on target out of 3. He had 44 touches, 8 in the opponent's box, 1 completed dribble. Only 2 passes into the final third, but he is further up, so you can understand that. Dispossessed 3 times. Yeah, not much. 50% of his ground duels won. 0% aerial duels won. I can get why that's his rating. I can get why that's his rating, to be fair. Let's go forward here. Alejandro Garnacho with a 3.8. Is that all you guys are giving him? Is a 3.8? Again, I didn't think he was that bad. Again, maybe I'm a 3.8 for the first half would be fair. If he doubled it, if you're walking away with nearly an 8, right? Which would be a good score. Second half, nowhere near his first half levels. John McGinn did stop him scoring. And that's also why Palmer doesn't have a chance created, though, as well. So let me remember that. Statistically, it's not a chance because it was cleared by McGinn, but the pass was there. That's very fair. But then I suppose it was cut out. João Pedro there with a 4.2. I mean, the man scored. And he's getting a 4.2 from you guys tonight. Liam Delap with a 2.1. A 2.1 rating. Jeez Louise. Oh, wow. There we go. Let's have a little look here. 2.5 for Gittins. And who else? What else are we looking at here? And we're looking at a 2.4 but Malo Gusto as well. Wow. That's crazy. But there we go, guys. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. Was there any others on here? Oh yeah, Esteval got a 3.1. Let us know your ratings. Let us know if you guys have done it. That'd be great to hear from you guys on that as well. The player ratings, they are pinned to the live chat. So get in there and take a look at it for us. Would love to get your views. Love to get your opinions. Let me check one thing. Oh, that's not really... Okay, cool. Right, let's bring out the panel now to have this. I think we've done all the super chats that have come through, and I've got a few more. Ches, spoiled cheese, and the onion, Donion. I don't even get it. So someone did say the other day that Ches and Don was like, they said like Ches and Donion, like flavored crisps. Matisse, Don Quest, I want all of you here. You spent so much energy on Arsenal that you forgot to worry about your own team. Hold that, is what B says here. But T, they are on the same level as Arsenal, if not better. Look, if you think Aston Villa are better than Arsenal, then you think they're better than Arsenal. I personally don't. The points is very close, but I think by the end of the season, Arsenal will finish ahead of them. But that doesn't mean that Aston Villa haven't done brilliantly well this year. They've done very, very well this year, and they deserve a lot of credit. Do I think Arsenal are better than them? Yes. Do I think Arsenal will beat them on Tuesday? Yes, I do. But yeah, they're a very good team. Not just because I don't think they're as good as Arsenal. I don't think they're as good as Man City. On a European level, I don't think they're as good as Bayern Munich. I don't think they're as good as PSG. I don't think they're as good as Barcelona. That doesn't mean I don't respect how good they are. If you think they're as good as that, then you can say it. Like me and you can just have a difference of opinion without arguing about it. They are a good team, though. That, my friend, I agree with fully. Right, let me move the scores off my screen and let me change this over to here like this. Let me bring the panel out now. We've got Mo, we've got David, we have Elijah, we have Ches on the stream with me here. Elijah, I'm going to come to you first, my friend, because you look, I know it's Christmas time, but you look miserable, bruv. Talk to me.
Oh, Terry, man, I'm just fuming beyond belief. Fuming because, again, this club has no mentality whatsoever. I listen to this stat, Terry. Chelsea have dropped 11 points in winning positions at home, more than any other side. Yeah? That just shows you that we are not good enough to be in the title race, let alone be in the top four. We had a chance to win today because Liverpool beat Wolves. Man United won yesterday. And now we could finish sixth, because if Sunderland beat Leeds United tomorrow, they go above us. And if Crystal Palace win tomorrow, they're on the same points as us. When you asked me, Terry, last week, and I'm very worried about top four, I said to you, yes. Now I'm getting really concerned because I understand that Villa are a really good team. But I'm sorry, this game was at Stamford Bridge. It was not at Villa Park. There is no excuses. We had to win this game, but we failed to do so. And guess what, Terry? Villa won this game, but before the goal, they did absolutely nothing in that first half. It was a good performance from everyone, like you said, you know.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. What was the difference tonight between the first and second half? You 2xG, you had ample shots, big chances. They didn't get in your box. They didn't have a shot. They had 0xG. They had 29% of the ball. How did you go from that dominance in the first half to completely falling off in the second? What do you think is it? What happened at halftime that changed Chelsea so much?
Well, Terry, let me answer that question for you. It was our error that made that happen. Because when I look at the momentum, Terry, ever since Villa got that equalizer, they were the better team. They were far away the better team. They had more confidence, more impact. And guess what? They had substitutions that makes an impact. Ollie Watkins comes on and scores 2 goals. When I look at our bench here, we don't have any player that can do that. We don't. We bring on Liam Delap. Guess what? Gets a yellow card after 2 minutes coming on. Jamie Giddens did nothing. Esteval was bad. Gusto, oh my goodness me, Terry. I couldn't believe that substitution. He takes off Kukueya, brings on Gusto for him to play as a left back. And then for the second goal, Gusto did not mark Ollie Watkins whatsoever. So what's the point of being on Gusto? It made things worse. But for me, the fact that he puts him as left back makes no sense whatsoever. Bad issue. Like, he calls this man. Because what was that pass? Why did you make that stupid pass straight to the Aston Villa? Like, this is why when it comes to conceding goals, Terry, it comes from our mistakes. And it's our fault we lost this game. Because before the equalizer, we had chances to score this game. Enzo had a chance, but missed. Cole Palmer, Reece James, Garnacho. Like, Cole Palmer got the assist if Garnacho would have tapped that in, but he didn't. It's our fault, Terry. I blame more on the players than the manager, because I can't blame Enzo Maresca on this. He was banned. He wasn't on the touchline. He was watching from the stands. Apart from the substitutions, I can't blame this on him. There's more on the players. Caicedo in the second half, shocking. Enzo, poor. Like, everyone in that second half was poor. Robert Sanchez, maybe he could have done better with the goals, but I'm sorry to say this to you, Terry. He was our best player. Because if it weren't for him, if he didn't make those saves, Terry, this result could have been even more embarrassing. It could have been 5 or 6. I feel sorry for Sanchez because he doesn't deserve this. He could have done better, but I'm sorry. Sanchez was our best player, and that ain't good enough. And this is why, if we play like this, Terry, if we keep on making stupid mistakes on the back, we are nowhere near getting top 4 if we keep playing like this.
My question is,
anymore.
How is
Elijah, did you say it's not the manager's fault for both halves or just the first half?
It's the players. I blame more on the players than the manager because our players let us down. Yes,
the whole game.
Because it was our mistakes that allowed Villa to get back in this game. Before that, Villa did nothing. Robert Sanchez in the first half didn't have to make any save. Absolutely nothing. When Badiashile made that pass, he allowed Villa to get back into this game. It's a joke.
On the manager thing, actually, Terry got a question in it for Elijah. My bad.
Yeah, Terry, what are you going to say?
It was just a sarcastic one, just to say, like, how is this happening to the second best squad in the league?
Oh, anyway, to respond to Elijah's point, I don't think we can. Well, the other day, I think I asked a question to the panel and stuff, and I said, "How can you go from Arsenal playing like a 7 out of 10?" Remember that question, Terry? To Leeds, and I got like a consumption of basically a few parts making the sum. It was a bit of everything, a lot of variables, the players, the mentality, the manager. But over the last few weeks, because obviously games go by, Bournemouth, the Newcastle game today, and there's another game I missed as well in between that. Everton win, where, by the way, we should have easily conceded in that game as well. The manager is definitely letting the team down. And the reason why I say that is because the first half, in this game in particular, in the first half, we're dominating them. Everyone watched the game, right? They didn't do anything. We're winning the first balls. We created loads of chances. 2xG, you said, Terry, that's correct. They didn't do anything. I don't think they had a shot on target in that first half.
They didn't have a shot.
There we go then. Even better then. So, and then we score. We should have scored more, like Elijah said. Fair enough. You don't score to... Here's the issue. But I said in our group chat, I said, don't get excited. I asked Andrew and David, I said that. Because we know, like Elijah said, our team is very weak mentally, which I was surprised last week we came back. Because I didn't think that would happen. I was surprised by that. Today's result, David said it in the chat, was inevitable because the manager didn't adapt to what Emery did. Emery made changes, despite having better bench than us, which changed the game for his team. And our manager was too late to make those subs. Momentum had already changed. And by that point, I think they scored the goal. He had a few chances. Batcham probably should have scored. Sanchez made a few saves. And you knew where the game was going to go. You knew Aston Villa either going to nick it, or if Chelsea get lucky, they'll miss their chances and we'll grab a draw. Which, by the way, we'd have the same reaction if we drew. That would have been 2 points in 6. Now it's 1 point in 6. 1 win in 6 games also. So I can't look at 1 win in 6 and say, oh, it's all on the players and experience and it's all because the players don't know what they're doing. When I'm seeing teams with maybe more experience but less quality than mine doing better than that. I can't... Now, when I make this reasoning for what I'm trying to say, I'm not excusing all the blame off the players, and just blaming the manager for his tactics and the way he's playing. But I 100% believe the manager, for whatever reason, this time of year, he seems to be making the same mistakes in terms of balance, in terms of setup, in terms of motivation, in terms of even mentality. Because it's funny how in the comments.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question about tonight's game on that. What did he do at halftime that upset your balance? What did Maresca do that ruined all these top players and made them unbalanced in the second half? What specifically did he do wrong?
No, I don't think it was necessarily the halftime change you need to make, because the first half we were fine. But when Emery changed his system and changed the personnel, you could see the game was going a certain way, and Maresca waited too long to make the subs. Now, then what people will do is they go, yeah, but Ches, the players are inexperienced and they lost their heads, which is a byproduct of the system being found out. The reason why we were sitting on the player ratings and going, who had a good second half? Nobody. That's no coincidence when the first half, everybody was decent to good. Second half, nobody was good at all. I can't just look at it and go, just like Leeds and Arsenal. Oh, the players were great against Arsenal, crap against Leeds. They're just crap, Ches. I don't think that's the case. I think there's way more tactics, conversations going on where he's not getting his point across enough in these games, and that's why we're dropping points at home. Happened against Brighton. The exact same game happened today against Brighton. Different was, Brighton, we had a red card. Similar to the Arsenal game. In the game, doing well, Caicedo, and in that game, for example, he did get praised because he done well, but like the Brighton game, like today, like United, like other games the boys can mention, he hasn't done well enough to adapt. Even the Bournemouth game was so flat. And no one could tell me you need loads of experience to beat Bournemouth, who've not won a game in 9 games.
But
Let me ask you a question. Quite a few people in the comment section are asking this question. A lot of people are saying this. No one is saying that Maresca hasn't made mistakes because he's also a young manager as your players are young. Is there not a case here that some of your players are getting too much protection from people like yourself? Is it not a case that maybe, just maybe, some of your players are not as infallible as you're making out?
Firstly, to respond to that question, I haven't said anything about any individuals being infallible. There's a few players I think are really good who could play for most teams in the world. There's a few I don't rate. Secondly, how can someone with a brain watch today's game and not talk about tactics? It wasn't a head-to-head where they were just a better team. Tactically, we just lost the game. It was they would have scored via a set piece like they did. It could have been a sweaty, it could have been a long shot. They were going to win the game because of what we were watching. The tactics weren't good enough and haven't been good enough for a long time. I can't remember a very good 90 minutes, or even not even 90 minutes, it's a bit harsh. I can't remember a game where I said, tactically today, we done well enough to win that game. The Everton game comes closest to that. And even you guys watching that game will admit Chelsea weren't in the ascendancy the whole game. They didn't have full control. Everton had a lot of control in that game. If you watch, if you know ball, you know ball. So I think when we have these conversations, there's two sides. People quick to go to directors and say it's all their fault. People also quick to go to the manager and say it was his fault. I think for the last few games, if I had to put more percentage than one, if I'm being very fair, I love Maresca a lot. I didn't want him to leave. I don't want him to leave, present tense. But for me, he's not done well to manage the squad. He's not done well to manage the tactics. And Terry, you know what game I forgot about? Ask the boys about this game if I stop waffling. The Atlanta game. The Atlanta game had nothing to do with inexperience and quality. If you watch that game, we were winning and dominate. We were winning the game. We weren't dominating, to be fair. Tactically, he made a complete wrong subs and we lost the game. And the exact same result and scoreline and the exact same style happened today.
Hang on a minute. When you say none of it's about experience or quality, so what you're saying is it's Maresca's tactics. It isn't that the Lat hasn't been good enough, that Gittins hasn't been good enough, that Garnacho hasn't been good enough. So tossing it hasn't been this problem that you've been talking about. We're saying they're all good enough, but the manager's making them bad.
I'm talking about the results that, for example, if you lose to home at Villa, that is a terrible result. If you lose in the way to Atlanta, it's a terrible result. I look at those results and I have to look at what is the reason behind those results. I'm not saying none of the games you dropped.
I understand it, but I'm trying to get you to give a straight answer. When the Lat's been poor for you so far, do you think that's because the Lat's been poor and maybe isn't good enough, or maybe needs more time to improve, or do you think the manager is ruining him?
I think they're too polarized. I think that they're too extremes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm asking you a straight question because you're giving very vague answers. Because 1 minute you're saying I don't think
the reason why the answer is vague, Kerry, because no one can pinpoint what the issue is. So hence, I have to be ambiguous because I don't know myself. Well, you don't know.
So you
We're
don't,
giving
so
our
you don't
opinion.
know what so you don't know what the issues are at Chelsea at all. You have no idea.
No, I said we don't know what the issue is. We know there's issues. Hence why we're not winning 1 in 6, right? But we can't sit here and pinpoint. I just said it before. I don't like it when people go either spectrum where it's just the manager or just the players. Oh, a lot of people's reason excuse is mentality or inexperience. And then they'll just forget
It's what you just did. It's what you just did. You just turned around and said,
I've just said,
you said when you win 1 in 6, it's the tactics. It isn't about a lack of quality or experience. That's polarizing the answer. That's saying it isn't about Delat being poor or Esteval being young or Badiashile not being good enough. It's the manager's tactics as why you've lost it, where I actually think it's a combination of the two. I think you've got some players in your squad that so far haven't been and are not good enough for Chelsea. And I think that what you do, Ches, along with a number of Chelsea fans like yourself, is you always want to put 90, 100% of blame on the manager so you can, so that you don't have to admit that you misjudged a player that you said was good enough for you. It's a way of you kicking your footballing opinion down the road instead of saying, you know what? I'm actually gutted we signed this guy, or he hasn't pushed on, or this person isn't of a standard. You'll do it to toss in, and that's about it. Outside of that, it's just blame the manager. Let's just blame the manager. Let's blame the manager.
Sorry. That soliloquy is very nice. Like, I hear it. Like, it's very good, but that's not what I said. You just reduced to what I've said. I never once said I blame them. I literally said in my own mouth, I'm not going to blame it all on him. But today's game, Atlanta's game, I use examples. I think he tactically got it wrong.
And then I asked you a question. And then I asked you a question. No. And then I asked you a question. I said, cool. I said, what did he do at halftime that created the imbalance that made all your players that are good enough and experienced enough play badly? And you said, I don't know.
No, my response, I don't know, wasn't to that question. My response to I don't know was when you asked me, do you know what the issues are?
So what did he do at halftime? So if you're blaming today on him,
you've asked me this question twice and you didn't listen to the response. I'll say it for the third time. At halftime wasn't the issue because first, I said this already, by the way. First half, we were fine. We were winning the game. Yes. Didn't have a shot.
Yes.
The first half, him not changing anything is very logical not to do so. My issue became when the Emery changed his system and personnel. We didn't adapt quick enough, and the game was running away from us. And the subs he made, I didn't agree with. I don't think you should have taken off Palmer. I don't think you should, for example, taken off Garnacho, even though I don't rate him. And those momentum switches impacted the game, hence why the inevitability of us conceding happened.
So what about the first 15 minutes before the changes were made by Unai Emery? You were still nowhere near the level you were in the first half. You weren't pinning them back in the same way. You weren't creating the chances. 15 minutes went by, and it was still that bad. I don't disagree that he could have made. I didn't like
on that point. Can I respond to that point quickly?
Why were you poor at the beginning of the second half before those changes were made?
100. By the way, we see that in games sometimes where a team will be dominating, come out in the first 5-10 minutes, and whatever the manager said has the opposite effect. Okay, so that I can actually understand. What I can't legislate for is when you see that happen and you don't then change things immediately. I'm not annoyed at the game plan not working in the second half because Aston Villa might have wanted it more, or love Quest for messaging me. Is what he's listening. Be up, Quest. I can't legislate for that point. But Terry, what I can refer to is yes, it's not going correct, but is my manager going? Oh, I've noticed we're losing possession here. The second balls ain't being won. This isn't working. Let me just change it up. He waited and waited and waited to the point where the momentum already switched. We're now chasing the game, ironically at home. Then they go and score inevitably. The boys will tell you the same thing. The only difference is...
Chez, I actually have a question because I'm just hearing...
Dave, before you ask the question...
Wait.
Terry is wrong. Dave, I think Terry is wrong, to be honest with you. I think Terry is wrong here.
I'm going to tell
you why.
I'm not wrong. I haven't made a statement. I'm asking a question.
No, you're responding to me or Terry?
I'm digging. I'm not wrong.
I know, but there is one thing that you said, Terry. I actually think in the beginning of the second half, Chelsea still had the position. Only in the first 2-3 minutes, Aston Villa had this energy in them, and then Chelsea dispossessed him. And for the next 12 minutes, after the first 3 minutes, Chelsea had all the position, and actually Aston Villa didn't. It's minute 59 or 58 or 60 when Emery made these changes, the momentum completely changed. because he put Sancho on the side on a line, and he put the other guy on the line. And I believe that it's that second half part of it is mostly on the manager because he didn't adapt. You know they had 70% ball position. Suddenly, Aston Villa from that minute on until they scored. I actually checked them because when I was minute 60 at that time, it was masterclass by Enzo Maresca. Masterclass.
See, if I give an opinion, that's where I disagree, and I disagree because they maintained the possession at the beginning, but the intensity had gone from their game. So they weren't entering into the box, they weren't creating the goal-scoring opportunities, and that lack of intensity for me was part of the impetus for the changes as well. They fancy to go.
You never play 90 minutes at full intensity.
No, I'm not taking.
It's kind of impossible, Terry, because the first half was one of the best first halves. One of the best halves you've seen in the first half, right? You said that.
Let me just speak back to David. But you weren't at full 100% intensity for the first 45 minutes. So there are times, but there was a lack of intensity, a lack of impetus to try and get that next goal. And I thought, you've started slowly here, considering how good you were in the first half. Then, of course, they made the changes, and instantly you saw them knocking the ball behind your midfield and creating opportunities. And I don't disagree with Ches, okay, that your manager should have made changes maybe sooner. And I don't like the changes that he made. But equally, I saw Enzo in the first half miss some really good opportunities and chances. I saw players overhit crosses, take bad shots. There is criticism for those players there as well. And a lot of them that were doing it, do it regularly. And this idea,
Bro,
I just find it hilarious.
I understand.
It's always I'm going for the manager because it's just crop out.
I understand.
Some of the players.
No. Hold on. Respond, Terry.
No, Ches, you spoke for half an hour. Can I just?
He keeps on saying things I didn't say.
Because I'm actually going to let you speak more. Surprisingly, my question to you is: if you know all of these problems at Chelsea, why do you keep saying we're going to do mad things? That is my question to you.
Hey, David, what I say we can do? David, what I say we can do this season? Terry tried doing the same. David, hold on, context.
Ches, there is literal video evidence of you being like, our squad is as good as Arsenal's. That is not true. And we know this. And that's why me and Andrew sit here and go like, we know there are problems with this squad. We have our good games, but we, at the core of it, we cannot compete for regular bits. And that's why I get annoyed.
David, where did I say?
Hold on.
No, David, you say you let me speak. What did I say about Chelsea this season, David?
Guys, let me finish, man. That's why I get
annoyed. I never once said we're going to compete for the league or win the league. I never said that.
I'm not done. That's why I get annoyed at Elijah. That's why I get annoyed at Dom. That's why I get annoyed at you. Because you are constantly bashing this team, saying, why are you not in the title race? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? But you never admit that the squad and the manager both are not good enough at this current moment.
No,
the whole
David, I said that.
Hold on, let me finish, man. Let me finish. The whole point is that these players have to grow into what they're going to be, but they aren't there yet. So putting the standards of we are going to win the league or we are going to be in a title challenge this year doesn't make sense. And if you are aware of said problems, why are you putting us in those conversations?
David, is that a question or a statement? So I can respond.
My question is to you: is if you know the issues at Chelsea, why are you putting us in places that we don't belong? That is my question.
David, your response is exactly what I expect from David. Very articulated, but not quite accurate. Because Terry tried doing the same thing last week. He said, "Chase, you worried?" And I said, "No, I'm not. We're going to make top 4." I predicted Chelsea would finish 3rd and win a domestic trophy. David, respond to this point right now. Is it insurmountable Chelsea can finish 3rd or 4th in the league and win a Carabao Cup or FA Cup?
No, it's not. But my point,
So if that's the case, David, what wasn't crazy then, was it?
Then Chez, sorry, David, 1 second, but then turn up in May then, Chez. I love you, bro, but turn up in May because what we're trying to do is have a conversation with you. And what you do is you always kick the can by saying, yeah, well, I still think we'll make it. So it doesn't matter how bad we are right now or if this player's pushed on or if the manager's messed up, I'm just going to say
there's not a problem, Terry. When did I say that? When did I say there's no problem?
Because what you do is I go, what are you concerned about? What are you worried about? And instead of answering like a normal person and saying, do you know what? I'm a bit worried if this player doesn't improve. The manager keeps making these mistakes. You just go, well, I still think we still going to come third. So until that doesn't happen,
No, but you asked me a
I
direct
don't
question,
care.
Terry, so I responded to you.
You're not really speaking. You're just talking innuendo and vagueness, and you kick the can down till May. And it's fine if you want to do that, but it's not a conversation. It's like talking to an AI program.
I'm still here. I'm still here. I like that for a bit. Terry, the issue is you asked me a direct question, so did David. So I'm allowed to respond to said question. My response to us losing today wasn't, oh, we're going to finish third, was it? So can we stop doing this 1 + 1 = 3 logic? It doesn't make sense.
Well,
David
but
asked me, I direct. You last week asked me, I direct. But David, Terry last week said to me, Chesney, are you worried about said question? I responded, and then he goes to me, don't say that as a response. But he's asked me a question, so I'm responding to it.
No, Ches.
Like,
My point is that if you, because I at the start of the season put us third, but
yeah.
But my point is that if you, and I literally said my only reason for us finishing third is that I think one of the big boys is going to have a bad season, and currently my prediction is right. One of the big boys is having a bad season, but we're not capitalizing on top of it. That's a different conversation.
They're ahead of you.
No, yeah, they're ahead of us.
For now.
And Villa are the ones capitalizing.
For now. I don't kick it down the road for now.
My point is, Kes, is that if you think we are going to be third, why is our squad as good as the title people that are actually going to win the title? That's where
David, to be fair,
you can't say, oh, I think we're going to come third and we're going to be in the title race. But then when I say, oh,
David, I never said we were going to be in the title race. I never said that. That's actually not true.
Oh, well, actually, I just think we're going to finish third.
David, you've been on my channel. I've never once said on Mo's channel, Terry's channel right now, on my own channel, we're going to be in a. Said back then when people used to gaslight me and go, Ches, you in it? I was like, we're in it until we're not. Meaning, we are where we are right now, right?
Bro.
That's different to saying beginning of the season.
For the viewers, it's the way you talk and say things and at people in the group chats. What you do is everything you do is you imply things. Now, obviously, you work in law, all right? So I know what you do. Theoretically, I didn't say those things, but we're not in a court of law. We've got to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. We know what you mean by what you imply, my friend. When you back certain people's opinions, like, yes, bruv, go for it. They don't get our club. You may not say what that person's saying, but you're backing what their words are. Therefore, you are connected to it, whether you like it or not, my pedigree chum.
So I understand that, but everyone who's catching the street in last week and noticed me on this channel because they like my opinions clearly. I think I'm being fairly balanced. I've called out the manager today. I'll call out the players and say they lost their heads. Cool. Petulant yellow card, like Elijah over the lap. I'll say that. What I don't like is when people just go, Ches, you rate the team X, you don't rate the manager Y, so why are you saying this? I've literally said to many people, we'll finish third. Third doesn't mean you had a great season or not. Why I say that in response to today's game or previous games is because I think as a project, it will be ups and downs. Some games will win, some games will lose. We might beat Bournemouth and Liverpool United might lose the next game or draw the next game. We'll be comfortably in third again. Am I going to get overly happy? No, I'm not. That's why I mentioned the end objective. Because if I know the end objective, I'm not going to be overly upset or downbeat when we lose and draw or win games.
But you know what the problem is? You know what the problem is, Shaz? You know the problem, and I get what you're saying, the end product. But the problem is currently Chelsea are failing. Today, in December 27th, Chelsea are failing.
Failing what, Mo? Be specific. What are we failing?
I'm going to tell you, very, very simple. Yeah. I said if Aston Villa are 10 points ahead of Chelsea, Chelsea are failing currently. If I don't care about you know what? You can talk about title race or not title race. Arsenal and City. We said that the gap between Chelsea and the top teams should be closer. Chelsea today, in December 27th, are 12 points or 13 points behind the league leaders. They are 10 points behind Aston Villa. So currently you're failing. Will it get better? Does it look like it's going to get better? It might. Like, this is your answer, Chess. It might. It's like, it might get better. We might finish third. We might finish fourth. Currently, it doesn't look like you're going to finish third. Currently, it doesn't look like you're going to finish fourth because maybe Liverpool will finish ahead of you, which is going to be, for me, if you finish fifth, you regressed. With all the money that is spent, you regressed this season. which is
Who
I
disagreed?
think
No, who disagreed with that? I think we have aggressively finished fifth. I
but
agree
that's
with
the
you.
whole point. That the whole conversation today in December 27th is not where Chelsea will finish at the end of the season. That is not the conversation
No,
today.
but moment, you know what
The
issue I have
conversation
is?
today that Chelsea are the worst informed team in the top 12 teams in the league today.
Mo, I
This is
agree
it.
with you. I think our form is terrible. I think we're not playing very well. I think the players are losing their heads. I think the players are not underperforming. I think the manager's underperforming. But this is why I have an issue. People call and laugh us and call us a project. They call us a bunch of youth projects. They make jokes. Blue £1 billion bottle jobs. You then win a Conference League and Club World Cup. They then gaslight you and say you're that good. Are you that good really, Ches? And in the same breath, when I say it's a project, they don't want to hear it's a project. If
No,
it's a
but
project...
but you said we're that good.
No. What did I say? You should be specific. What have I ever said about my squad?
You said the gap is. I'm going to tell you exactly what you said because you streamed with me on my channel. You said the gap. The gap that you said the gap. You said the gap has been closer.
Ridiculous.
Can we just speak about the game?
But
Because
David,
I'm actually
I bring a
No,
certain
Ches,
content in it. So it needs to
I
happen.
get it. You didn't say
We
anything.
are going to go back to the game. We will go back to the game. I'll end this little segment by saying I remember you coming on here not that long ago, Ches, after you won 3 or 4 games on the bounce, and you said everyone shut up about my club's projects, shut up about the quality of my squad. After those 4 wins, you were near the top, and you said this is what I told you where we would be. Never chat about my club, anybody else ever again, because you all doubted it. Look how good we are. You've been on here and done that. That's why people ask you these questions. Well, you've gone.
And when we
backwards
finish
since then.
further and win a domestic trophy, what do you think I'm going to come and say, Terry? I'll say I was right all along. If we don't, I'll come and be like, yo, the project's failing that Mo said. I don't mind.
But we'll see.
Like, I don't care.
I haven't heard from Winter Surfer yet. Winter Surfer, what did you make of today's game specifically? Hopefully you actually talk about the game. It'd be nice.
I've seen that game. I've seen that game for the past 8 years at this club. It's the same type of thing. We dominate a team, but we don't take our chances. Or we didn't really make the goalkeeper work a lot in that first half. For me, we went 1-0 in very fortuitously, and then they made tactical changes and we lost our head. I mean, like David knows, I haven't been up on this team. I don't think they're good. I don't think anything's really good enough at Chelsea at this point. And it doesn't really surprise me. The attacking depth of this team is so poor. And what we're bringing on, I mean, you might as well not have made a sub for Garnacho and just left us with 10 players because Gittins didn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? It's the same type of thing. And then Delap. I mean, Delap's got more cards than goals for us. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. He comes on and gets a yellow card. He runs around like a headless chicken. He's got low socks on. He's not Jack Grealish, so he hasn't earned the right to have low socks like that. But, it's just...
Andrew, that's on the manager. That's on the manager. The Delap thing is on the manager. The Delap thing is on the manager. Because he's asking Joao Pedro... You saw today, right? He's asking Joao Pedro and Delap to play the same exact game. Receive outside the box, turn, and do that. And Delap is not about that. And... He's failing the manager is failing.
I
Delap,
don't think.
To be honest with you.
No, I don't think. Listen,
Delap is a box striker, right? Am I wrong to say that Delap is a box striker?
Delap should not be the number 9 at this club. Joao Pedro's not a number 9, but Delap shouldn't be our number 9 option at this club. He should be learning from someone at this club. And once again, how many we said it?
You can learn from Gouy, though.
Oh, shut up, Mo. We said it when we bought Jackson, and we needed someone for Jackson to learn off. And we just repeat the same mistakes for 8 years in a row at this club under old and new management. The recruitment's not good enough. We may win a cup or 2 here and there, but in the league, we're where this is what we've been doing for 8 years in the league. We're what we are. We have the odd thing where we finish 12th, but where we are is where we usually finish around in the league for 8 years. It's not really improved. For 8 years, we've been like this since we won the title. Not been in a title race. What has improved? How many times I've been on this? I've been on the channel for 5 years, Terry, and I think for the same every year I say the same thing around this time. We collapse. Our season implodes in December, and we collapse. We say the same thing. We rinse and repeat. We'll be here next year with the same sort of thing. We'll continue and continue until something changes. It's not. When we talk about recruitment, I don't mind the way they recruit, but they can recruit better, in certain areas. We're now it'll be 3 years since we started doing this recruitment, and we're still talking about needing major improvements in defence, in attack, and the wings. We're still talking about it 3 years later. We shouldn't be talking about that. Maybe one of them we should be talking about, but not all three. We're just in a vicious cycle of it just happens again and again and again. And then me and David and Elijah have to go on streams and answer for people. And I love Ches and Don, but we have to answer for them. But when they say stuff, it's more Don really, and I like Don, but it's more Don really when he goes,
Thank you, Angie. Can you clarify it's more Don than me?
Yeah,
Don't
okay,
say anything crazy. I'm not on stream.
Yeah, but you
Shit is like throw Don under the bus.
Brother, you two come in twos. We know how you and Don operate, right? Don stands there, but you stand behind him holding his phone typing, bruv. You're together. You're together, man.
It's like you can't. You have to put realism, expectations, and standards. They're not the same thing. Do you know what I mean? People that talk about standards at this club, you can't apply it to these players. They'll never reach those standards at this point of what old Chelsea was. And then you have to put realism and expectations. We, as of right now, we're very lucky that the league is like this because 2 wins will take you up there. And even if you lose 2, you're still in and around it. Look, Fulham are 10th and they're only 3 points behind us. Do you know what I mean? There's like 3 or 4 points between 4th and 10th. It's how topsy-turvy this league is. There are only 3 quality teams in this league this season, right? We're seeing it, right? Because there's a big gap now. There are 3 quality teams. The rest of us are like that. We can lose one game and win the next game. It's just who's.
But I'm going to tell you something, Andrew, because I got to go. I have to say something, guys, to be honest with you. Chelsea almost had a masterclass today, but the only team in the league now that is failing as much as Liverpool are Chelsea. I genuinely believe this. Everyone else in the league, right, are doing exactly what you expect them to do, or they're overachieving. I'm talking about the top. I'm not talking about the Burnleys. I'm talking about everyone else. Sunderland overachieving. Man United overachieving. Crystal Palace overachieving. Brentford overachieving. Liverpool have failed, but now they climb to 4th. The only team currently in the league, and I'm looking at the table today, is Chelsea. Newcastle. Someone said Newcastle, and I will give you this. Newcastle, fine. But the reality is, forget everyone else. Chelsea today should not be 12 points behind the league leaders, regardless of who the league leaders were. And I think that is what people are feeling. And today's game reflects that. There is so many games that Chelsea should have won this season that they didn't win because of a lack of energy in a half, or a lack of clinical edge up top, or a center back that made a mistake, or the manager just made a howler like the Man United game. It's not like Chelsea have had a horrible season overall. No, there are some great games that happen, but it's simply some games. A lot of points now.
We are the best inconsistent team in this league.
Exactly.
That's what we are, and we've done it in games. We've done it in half. We're inconsistent in games. Look at the first half to the second half. We're inconsistent in games, and we're not going to press for 90 minutes because that'd be mad. But it's a point where how many touches do you have to take before you have a shot? How many times are you not going to pass it forward and pass it backwards all the time? How many times are you going to do that? And you know what? That's not on the manager. The manager's not asking him to take an extra touch. Someone's a goal, just take a shot. Look at the goal we scored today. It just drifted off João Pedro's thigh.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not just.
I'm going to have to head out, guys.
Cheers, Mo. I'm going to David about the game. Look, and for me, I look at it this way. Maresca makes mistakes. Listen, I've rated some of the players you signed in the summer. I was a big fan of Gittins and was very excited about seeing him come to the Premier League. Hasn't kicked on. I like the lap.
He's ass.
Hasn't kicked on. And these things happen, man. You know. There are also signings that happen, and you think, oh, and then they end up doing really, really well. This happens in football. I just think sometimes there's a lack of a balanced conversation around these, for individual games or overall. And you know, and it's hard because you know you've seen me have the debates with the likes of Don and with the likes of Ches about these things. I want to give you an example. If you currently keep getting the same amount of points per game as you've averaged most of the season, and Arsenal continue to, after all those debates about how close you were to them, they're almost tracking towards being 30 points ahead of you. Now, I don't think it will be that big, but it's one of those things sometimes where that isn't just the manager making mistakes. That isn't just because Tosin's in your squad. I think that's also because some of the players that you think are superstars and what I call Chelsea level. So I had this conversation about Enzo Fernandez a lot. I'm not convinced he's Chelsea level. And what I mean by Chelsea level is he the kind of midfielder that can be consistent enough at the highest level to help you guys win league titles? That's what I look at being a Chelsea level player when I say it. And I'm not convinced with him as an example. But yet what I'll see a lot from people is, no, I've backed him on X. I've backed him on online. So when it comes to sitting here and having an honest conversation about a game, I'm just going to blame the manager's system and tactics and everybody else around him. So I don't have to maybe admit that I could be wrong. And I just think
tactics are
the
fine.
conversations... Yeah,
tactics and system are fine in the first half, and no one says it. It's like last week I listened to podcasts where they were blaming Maresca for the first half, but they weren't giving him any credit for the second half when we came back from 2-2. You can't have it both ways. And going back to your points thing, I don't even think it's this season. Apart from when we finished 12th, I bet you if you go over the last 8 years, Terry, we're at least 20 plus points away from the league leaders whenever we finish in the past 8 years.
On most years. I hear you. David, in terms of the game in itself, like, brilliant first half, terrible second half, been the story of your season, or the other way around, bad first half, brilliant second half. What do you think went wrong tonight? What was the frustrating elements for you, mate?
The frustration is we lack quality in key areas, and that's just the basic level of it. Like, we have a striker, but he's not fit. But we struggle to fit him in the squad because of the makeup of the squad that we've got, and then the defense is. I don't care how many clean sheets we get. I don't care the fact that Robert Sanchez is one clean sheet behind Raya. Like, I literally don't care. If you look at our defense, that defense is poor. And we have very good fullbacks. We do have very good fullbacks. But if the core of your defense is bad, it doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter what's going on out wide. And that core is bad. It is bad. And do you know what? I did try the whole, let me give Chalobah credit. Let me give Robert Sanchez credit, because they're playing well, but you know what it is? No matter how well those players play, they are just not good enough to be a consistent level performer for us to be winning the league. And that's just the matter of the fact. Robert Sanchez has played really well this year, but his level over the season is not good enough to win you a league. And when you combine that, and the thing is, if we've got prime Van Dijk, we've got prime John Terry, and we've got Robert Sanchez, you'd probably get away with it. You probably would. But the point is that in our squad, we've got too many holes where we've got a player who, when they put in their 7 out of 10 performance is a good player's 5 out of 10. That's the biggest problem at Chelsea. I look at the amount of times that Chelsea fans can attest this, the amount of times we end up in situations where we end up on a break. And the one thing Robert Sanchez is actually really good at doing is releasing the ball for a breakaway. We'll be on a breakaway and we'll have a 4-on-2. These are things that you do in training every single day. 4-on-2s, 3-on-1s, 3-on-2s, 4-on-3s, whatever. The amount of times we mess up the pass, or we mess up the pass because we give it to the wrong person, or we hold the ball too long, or we play it too long, it's ridiculous. It is genuinely ridiculous. Every time there's a moment like that, I don't believe we're going to score. Because it's just one of those things where these players, their 7 out of 10 is a 5 out of 10 for Mo Salah. Their 7 out, Tosin Adarabioyo's 8 out of 10 is a 4 out of 10 for Virgil van Dijk. That is the difference in the squads. Gabriel and Saliba, Chalobah's 10 out of 10 is their 7. And it's not good enough. And the thing is, you can have every squad has those players, and that's not a problem. The problem is that when I look at this game, just in particular, we've got too many I call them B-side players. We've got 2 B-side centre-backs at best. And that's me being generous. Because
solutions, David.
I don't think, you know what I mean? I think Chalobah might be a B, but Tosin is definitely a B.
I think
I think our best centre-back's 18 years old. That is a problem in itself.
Our best centre-back's injured. That's what injured.
It's not good enough. I know that I've been one of the biggest supporters in the project of, we need to, like, if there's 2 ways you skin a cat, you either let the team grow together and they all get experience together, or you add the experience in. For me right now, when I look, and again, I still believe we're going to make top 4. That I will preface, I still believe we are going to make top 4. But right now, it'll be a big battle. But right now,
can I ask you boys a question? Do you think there is the potential that there's an element of, I'm not talking about the river in Egypt, do you think there's some denial in the Chelsea fan base in the sense of, if he can have a couple of good games, he'll kick on. Wait till he's over this 8th injury. He's going to kick on. Trust me, give him another year or two. This player is going to be a world beater. Do you think there's this element of, because I know I've done it with Man United players, where you go, he can make it. He can get there because you're in love with your club and you're desperate for it to happen. Do you think that maybe some of your fans are, and then to maintain that, being in that early stage of denial, the denial curve,
I'm telling you,
it always seems to feel I'm just going to go fully in on the manager. Doesn't mean you shouldn't get some blame or some criticism or a lot of criticism and blame. It just feels I'm going to keep deflecting away from the fact that some players that have been there 2.5, 3 years have not kicked on to a consistent level.
Terry, I'm telling you right now, right? Chalobah's is a good squad player, but if he wasn't Cobham, Terry, he'd be getting ripped to shreds. I'm telling you right now by his fan base. It's only because he's at Cobham he gets a leeway from this club. I agree with David. I said it all season when Colwell got injured. All these centre backs are beta centre backs, which means they want to be led. They don't want to lead. They want someone to hold their hand and tell them what to do. That's what they don't want to take ownership. Even like remember, wait till Fofana gets back. Look at that last game against Newcastle. Absolute trash he was then. He's the same. He's in all of them. That's why I didn't really rip on Tosin that much like the others did, because he's at the same level as all the rest of these centre backs. I agree with David. You don't have a solid defence, right? You are not going to do anything as a team, right? And maybe that goes on Maresca as well for constantly changing the centre backs. Now, some of it is forcing him in the changes in terms of fitness and something like that. But sometimes he changes both centre backs from a different game. But look at his options. His options are terrible, Terry. And when we hit, our press tells us he's been told to look at internal solutions. They're all shit. All the solutions are shit.
And answer your question,
So
Terry.
what is he supposed to? What is he supposed? I do not know how we've got 8 clean sheets this season. That is an enigma to me. How we've got 8 clean sheets this season is mind-boggling. How Robert Sanchez is in line for Golden Gloves this season at this stage of the season is insane to me. Okay, I don't know how we've done it. I blame the other sides for not taking their chances against us, because there's no way we are that good defensively. Now he did last, and maybe it's to do with Levi Colwell obviously being absent, but he got a good defensive run at the end of last season to get us into the top 4. We kept a lot of clean sheets, but I would say again, if you want Maresca, if there's no skin off my nose, if Maresca goes, right? If he goes, he goes. But everyone above him, obviously can't give it away, but everyone above him's got to go as well. They all have to go.
That's also the irony, again, as an outsider, is when I hear the SDs. I always think people have lost their memory sticks. They go, the SDs are in trouble, right? The SDs are crap. I go, hang on, you keep saying the SDs are shit, but then the same people that I see do that regular also big up how good their squad is. And I'm like, hang on, how can it be the second best squad in the league with shit sporting directors? This is my biggest issue with a lot of the conversations. Nothing seems to marry up. Like, generally speaking, if you meet a United fan who doesn't rate, like, I don't like the Glazers. I've lost nearly all faith in Ineos. Therefore, the idea of sacking a manager feels somewhat, I feel like I'm a hamster on a wheel, because if I don't trust them and I think they're going to make bad decisions, it might be right to sack a manager, but having excitement that the next guy is going to work, I can't, because I don't trust the people making the decisions. I get weirded out by people that go, we've got the worst owners in the world, worst sporting directors, We've got to sack the manager, man. We'll be flying after that.
Terry,
the guy you say are incompetent. Makes no sense.
But when you look at when you look at other teams' recruitment, I'll just go to the choir at Crystal Palace, right, for Wolfsburg. Why weren't we in for him? Do you know what I mean? Why weren't we in for him as an opportunity? This is our press, and these guys will know it. Our press love the word opportunity. That's a Chelsea buzzword. It's opportunity. All it ever is opportunity.
I hear that.
Like the Semenyo thing. The Semenyo thing was done in 4 hours, like last Thursday or Friday or whatever it was. But I knew we weren't going to get him. But if we'll seek an opportunity, that's what we do at this club. Our club. When Arsenal get a bad result, they drop their new kit or whatever, right? We drop transfer news at this club to distract the fans. That's all we do at this club. That's all we do. Watch tomorrow. We'll be linked to Elliot Anderson over the next couple of.
I still agree. Sorry, go on, David. Go on, mate.
No, I was going to say, the thing is as well, I don't mind us being this opportune. We're going to pick the best youngsters. but make sure you actually pick the best youngsters. Because
Exactly.
if you're gonna do that, how we've ended up with a left wing combo of Garnacho and Gittins, to me, doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Because Garnacho, the opportunity of Garnacho didn't make sense in the first place. And while Gittins, yes, was a very good player at Dortmund, the opportunity at signing him for 60 mil doesn't. The likelihood of you repaying that is low. Because that 60 mil on, well, again, I personally don't think Semenyo would have fitted us, but signing Semenyo for 65 mil at this current point makes a lot more sense than signing Gittins for 60.
And then you got Quinder coming. You got Quinder coming next summer, which makes even less sense. It's either or. You don't bring those two in. You either or, and then you bring someone better in above them so that it can come in. It's like I said. Those two players are exactly the same. They offer absolutely nothing. And this is the point we go back to it. How they got 6-year contract extensions, and you go by Gittins and Garnacho after getting 6-year contract extensions. You should be fired from the spot right there. You spent nearly £100 million. £100 million. We're already under the UEFA thing, where we have to like sell a lot more than for what we buy for the next 2 years because of the recruitment that we've done, because of how much we've overspent. And it's just but going back to it, I'm not doing the young player thing anymore, Terry, with these like the ages. These guys are 24, 25, 26. They're experienced enough. They take all the plaudits like last week's second half performance. They come out and do that in the second half. It's just not good enough, Everything's just not good enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is my problem, Terry, is that I've been saying this season, David, that I predicted Chelsea finish 4th this season because I still believe that Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City have a better squad than us. I said 4th this season because at that time, I didn't weigh Gittins, I didn't want Garnacho, I didn't weigh João Pedro, at that time. And the only problem is the sport directors is that they do not know how to sign proper players. Let me give you an example. Victor Osimhen wanted to come to Chelsea, and I like that, and I want that to happen. But guess what? We waited until the end of the transfer window, and we decided not to buy him. The same goes for Mike Maignan. He wanted to come to Chelsea, but guess what? Because of this Club World Cup tax and stupid nonsense, we didn't want to get him. Enzo Moesta clearly wanted a centre back, but what did the sports director say? Oh, internal solutions. Oh, we got tossed, we got that. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing? Like, what are these sport directors trying to do? Are they taking us to the title ways or to the top 4 ways? Because it doesn't make any sense. And this is why the project is an absolute failure. And we keep wasting money after money after money. And until we keep on spending the correct players, we're going to be in the same situation year after year. And this is why when people ask me, are you in the title race? I'm going to keep saying no, because I do not see the evidence of this team going to the next level. And people like Don and Chess saying that, oh, we got a better squad than Arsenal, Liverpool. I'm saying to them, no, we don't. No, we don't, because we are not that team that can take us further. We don't have the quality, and we don't have the players that can come off the bench and make an impact, unlike Villa. Because I look at the bench, Terry, I'm thinking, who have we got that can come on and make an impact? You think Liam Delap could? No. You think Gusto, any of these players like Jamie Gittins? No, they don't. And that's the main problem.
You've got Esteval that's already. You've got Esteval that's already better than. He's already better than Saka. Esteval, he's there.
Well, for me, no, because this guy is 18. But
he's very talented, but I hear you. I hear you. Guys, let me jump to these super chats. Sorry, boys. This is you think Chelsea are going to be at risk for some of these players on 8-year low salary contracts wanting to leave? No, because they're low. If, for instance, they were on 8 years, and some of these guys that were on 8 years are now on 5 years, if they were on 400 grand a week, yes, but they're not. So they're still relatively easy to move on. Most clubs that would want to buy them would pay them more than Chelsea are paying them, and the players would take the money because now they're down to 4 or 5 years, and therefore that's what they'd get elsewhere. So it's not that big of a problem. Because you can't sign players on those long contracts anymore. So it's only the guys that were signed 3 years ago, and again they're 3 years in, so it's done. The only top players at Chelsea are Reece James and Caicedo, who be real. Who else plays as consistently? I think Palmer does. Palmer's just been out injured for a long time. I think he needs time to find his feet. I wouldn't write that young man off. Don, we closed the gap on Arsenal, waiting on May. How dare you use logic when speaking to Ches? Do you know what it is with me? It's just like trying to have an honest conversation about a game, and everything's always innuendo. And yeah, but my view ain't changing anything because I don't care about your view on Chelsea overall. I want to speak about today's game. But he just, you know, you ever read that? I don't know which book it is. David will probably know. Most of you might know. You know, it's the best of times, it's the worst of times, right? It's I want to say Charles Dickens, but it might be George Orwell. Anyway, there's a very famous line from a very. And it's not Animal Farm. The viewers all know. There's a famous line from a book, which is it's the best of time. And I used to work with someone, and when he used to phone customers up and they got moan about the state of the economy, he'd go, yeah, it's the best of times and it's the worst of times. He'd just speak in innuendo and vagueness to people to get through these calls. It's a bit like, this is what it's like. Do you all remember Computer Says No? That's just what it's like. It's like that. I want to have a conversation about these things. Whole lots of nose picking on this stream. Big up. I repeat my super chat. I've seen this game 400 times before. Whisperer Ches talking tactics is like a broke man talking millions. Makes no sense. Waffle then Waffle House. More waffle than Waffle House. If Villa was from London, they wouldn't have won today. Chelsea is a WWE team. Hype FC. That's also a big part of this. When you guys play big teams, dangerous teams, you do go up a level. And that's why I also look at it and go, it ain't just the manager for me. It's what's set in the dressing room, the mentality. And I saw this at United when we were like a good team and not a brilliant team. We'd play the big sides and look good. And then you play, I'm not saying Aston Villa are a small team. I know they're third in the league. But I don't know. I feel like if it was Arsenal there today, if it was City there today, I feel like your second half would have been better and you'd have gone on to win the game.
I said that to you. I said to you a couple of weeks ago. I said I was more worried about the Burnley game than the Barcelona and Arsenal game.
That's right. What's it? When Nina said it on Sky Sports, everyone was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" It's like if you know this Chelsea side, when we play the big sides, that's why when I am relatively confident that we will do well in the Champions League. Because when it just comes to those two-leg fixtures, you've got to perform on this day. We're really good at that. But the reason why we can't win the league is because, and that's why when people are like, "Oh, you're world champions of what?" And it's like, we are world champions because that tournament is a knockout tournament where you've got to win one game. Whereas the league is you need 38 games of a minimum level, and while our peak is really good, our base level is too low.
No middle.
I do get it. And look, the thing is, listen, I saw people in the comments going, they thought that Esteval was better than Yamal. Listen, I get it. And I know Chelsea won a couple of tournaments last year and did very well, and I praised you. But you guys, I don't think you've been in as bad a hole as United. I think ours is worse. But I understand when you're hungry, do you know like average food when you're hungry? Give an example. How many times have you had a McDonald's, but when you've been proper Hank Marvin and it tastes amazing? We know it ain't great food, but when you're starving, you might as well be at the Ritz. You know what I mean? This is what happens when you're hungry. Like these things happen. But look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in to the show. This is going to redirect you to MHF. The boys are live over there. We're back tomorrow with Killing the Game in the morning. We'll be live after Palace versus what again? Why have they done another weekend where they put nearly all the teams on one day and then leave us with Spurs Palace only?
That'd be a good game.
Yeah, but we could have took the Liverpool or the Arsenal game that was on free and put that earlier tomorrow. We could spread the week a little bit more, couldn't we? But it also, I just don't. I ain't got to spend as much time with the family. Do you know what I mean? I can work. No, I don't have an excuse. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. To all of our super chatters, thank you. Remember, you can still go and do your player rating. The link is pinned to our live chat. So it'd be good if you guys go over there and get that done for us. But until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.